Hey YouTube, I hope you're all well. Welcome back to another installment of our series of videos for parents, carers, teachers, youth professionals, anyone who works with young people in any capacity to learn more about their mental health and how to support them. The 10th to the 16th of June is Men's Health Week, and in this video we'll be focusing mostly on men's mental health. So keep watching if you'd like to learn more about how you can have an open and honest conversation about mental health with boys and young men. Men's Health Week is designed to give access to boys and men to find information on how they can live happier, healthier lives. And of course, a big part of that is going to be their mental health. That's the foundation of absolutely everything. Now, I really want to start off with a statistic that has been consistent for years, and that is men's suicide rates in the UK. Between 2022 and January 2024, 73% of all the people who took their own lives were men. As I said, this statistic has been consistent across the years. It has always been about 75-25% of a ratio of about 3-1. A big part of why 4YoungMinds exists is to support all young people with their mental health, but particularly young men where there's such a huge barrier around talking about mental health and seeking the support they need before it's too late. So let's try and dig deeper into this statistic and where is this coming from? There are loads of societal ideals of what it means to be a man. Those in itself can create pressure and unrealistic expectations that men are supposed to live up to. Things like being the sole provider creates financial burdens that they have to then take on. Society also delivers the message of being a man means not showing your emotions, constantly being strong, and never showing vulnerability. And this is something that is fed to boys and young men from such a young age. Cast your mind back and think about some of the language that is even used to talk about young boys. Things like, oh, he's going to be a heartbreaker when he's older, isn't he? Or if they fall over in the playground and scrape their knee, come on, big boys don't cry. I work with young people aged 11 to 25 and in workshops with students as young as 11, and even in the situations where we've had younger students in there, it's very known what these societal pressures are from such a young age. Now, of course, this conditioning comes from the media. It comes from what they see growing up. But there are loads of reasons why boys and young men struggle to talk about their mental health. Of course, those are just some examples as this is a short video, but it is no secret that society creates a lot of pressure and burdens for men that make it very difficult for them to open up when they are struggling. Even the simplest of terms like man up basically implies that if you're a man, you can't show your emotions. Now, without spending too long talking about the problem, here are some tips on how you can have an open and honest conversation with boys and young men about their mental health. Firstly, provide a safe and non-judgmental space for them to speak. What I found in working in schools and youth setting is that a lot of the time boys do want somewhere to speak. And it might take a little bit of time to open up, but just letting them know that that space is available to them, you'll be surprised how often they use it. Try and create a space that is private, for example, a one-to-one room, where they know that they won't be disturbed or overheard. Understand that you're not always going to be the person that they want to speak to, but provide them with spaces to be able to speak when they need to. There are so many resources online that you can access, as well as anonymous helplines that allow young people to be able to get the help they need without even having to share who they are, and I will share some of those at the end of this video. 2, normalize that we all have mental health. Mental health and struggling with their mental health is not just a female thing. We've seen that the suicide rate is heavily skewed towards men, so we know that men struggle. The problem is they're not talking about it. Help them to understand that mental health and mental illness are not the same thing. And talking about your mental health doesn't make you crazy or weak. In fact, it's just as important as if you went to the doctors when you weren't feeling well. It's a way to help your mental health, not to make it worse. Thirdly, help them to build confidence and resilience. Having things that you're passionate about, focused on, can really help you with your mental health. Lots of boys and young men have admitted that they love being good at things, whether that be sports, art, music, whatever it may be. But help them to find what they love and develop their skills and watch them shine in that area. Finally, and one of the most important tips, do not shy away from talking about suicide. Often when we think about talking about suicide, we know the conversation is potentially going to be uncomfortable and we might say the wrong thing. There is honestly no such thing as the wrong thing, and just being able to show that you care and you're there for that person can mean the world. Sometimes being able to say the words that they're feeling suicidal just doesn't come. But being asked is like a weight lifted off their shoulders and is finally an opportunity for them to say it and talk about it. If they say they're not feeling suicidal, then they might not be, but at least you've asked and given them an opportunity and that they know that you'd be comfortable enough to have that conversation if they change their mind and they want to talk about it. As usual, this was just a really short video to bring awareness to men's mental health and why it's so important to encourage them to talk when they're struggling. I will of course be delving into all of these tips into much more detail at our free webinar on the 13th of June at 6 p.m. As usual, the webinar will be hosted over on Zoom. If you're unable to join us live, do not worry. Every single session is recorded and hosted on our Adults for Young Mind Facebook group, which I will also link below. The link for the event is also below. Please do come along if you can, and even if you can't join us, as I said, the recording will be available to you. Come along with your questions, join the discussion, and let's get talking about men's mental health and how we can support them. Thanks for watching.